Good morning. My name is Andrew Boyd, and I'm applying for a position as a special advisor to the commissioner of the PGA. To begin with the history of golf, golf began in 1452 in Scotland. From there, it continued to spread across Britain and into Europe. During this time, it was played by both the common man and the high class. But beginning in the 17th or 1700s and going forward, it became a game in which only the wealthy and nobility would play. Um, During this time, golf remained fairly unchanged. The only thing that really changed was the clubs and the balls themselves, but the courses were very natural courses in which they would play on a field that was naturally occurring. During the 1950s, you saw a lot of growth in golf because of TV coverage and the emergence of superstars like Arnold Palmer and Jack Nicklaus, which really helped with the popularity of golf into the 70s. And at this point, you saw golf going from a high status sport in which only the top people in society would play to a sport in which the common men would also play. During this time, there was continued innovation in golf ball and club technology, but also with courses themselves. They were now being designed, they were now being built, rather than the natural courses that you saw historically. Golf peaked in the 1990s, and Tiger Woods, who's the most famous player not only in golf but one of the most famous athletes in the world, peaked around this time as well and continued to carry golf into the early 2000s. The PGA started out with basically being a male-dominated organization. Since then, it has opened up to allow females to also play, and now females in golf is becoming increasingly popular. You're also seeing with the PGA, it has a broad international base. So although the PGA started here in America, it kind of oversees a lot of the aspects of golf, both domestically and internationally. And so most tournaments that you'll see in Australia or in Asia still are part of or affiliated in some way in a partnership with the PGA. The current impact of golf. Golf is a very popular sport, one of the top 10 most popular sports. It has global popularity, especially in Europe, America, and Australia, but has continued to gain popularity in Asia. It has very high ratings and viewership, and has a lot of sponsors. This is because golf has a lot of superstars, and the image of golf, the athletes that play golf have an image that companies like to use to help spread their brand image. Golf is kind of known as being a sport that's for sophisticated people and for precision, for determination, and that's something that people like to associate with compared to other sports, like football, which are a little bit more rough and tumble. And golf also has a very large market for products. So if you think about golf t-shirts, well, a lot of people that don't even play golf have golf t-shirts. And, you'll see Nike and Adidas and all these other brands also penetrate into the golf market with their own products. So not only are there golf products that are sold to the players in terms of better clubs, tees, balls, but also the apparel that makes it out to the general public as well. First of all, analysis of the PGA. A lot of what is going on in the PGA also has to do with golf itself. Its strength is that golf is very popular. It has a lot of superstars that carry the sport, and has a lot of sponsorship from corporations. Some weakness, though, is that golf is pretty stagnant at the moment in terms of its growth. You either play golf or you don't. It has a high cost associated with golf. So in this case, you have to have people that have the expendable income to be able to pay a lot of money to be able to buy the equipment and also to pay the fees to play the sport. It takes a lot of time just to get good enough to be able to play, even at a basic level, and so there's a very large barrier to entry there. And also each game takes a lot of time, which in an increasingly busier world, that's not something that people have a lot of these days. There are some opportunities, though. Kids golf is becoming very popular and has replaced other sports and continues to grow and become more founded. Companies like Topgolf, which have driving ranges and a sports bar type atmosphere, are continuing to do well and get people from the general public interested in golf. And then you also have mini golf, which pretty much everyone's played, even if they've never played on an actual golf course. And so this has allowed golf to be able to penetrate still into a young market. Some threats is that golf is very dependent on economic variations. So in times when the economy is not doing very good, when people don't have that much disposable income, golf is a sport that hurts a lot more than other sports like soccer, which you can play with just a ball in the net. There's also a lot of family dynamics that continue to change and affect golf in terms of males and females becoming parents and somehow still being able to have the time and money to be able to play for 3 hours is just not something that we see now in the family image. Now, there is a lot for potential growth. There were 2.2 million new golfers that took up the game last year in the United States, which is its largest rise since 2000. Again, this kind of falls in line with the economy. The economy has been doing pretty well the last few years, and since then, you've kind of seen a little bit of a rebound in the numbers, which were stagnant from the early 2000s until about 2017. There is an increasing number of young golfers and also female young golfers too, which you might see golf replace a lot of other female sports. And then also with that, you're also seeing high school sports, golf being more integrated in there. And so there is this potential for growth that if you can capture the young market, and especially with the female young market, you can create a solid base for future growth. Of course, COVID, will definitely have an impact on the economy, and it'll be interesting to see whether or not golf is able to maintain its growth in the following years as we still try to deal with the economic fallout of COVID. Now, why should I be an advisor? Well, I have a strong background in data analytics, which would help in terms of assessing the economy and its implications in golf, and then also seeing where we could have the most growth. A lot of that is done through data analytics. I also have event organization experience. I've planned exercises before. I also had an event organization internship before, in which we did events for large corporate sponsors. And so in this case, when you have a golf tournament, which is essentially a very large event, which is complex with different tee times, people coming in and out the golf course, people having to have areas to practice, having the proper amount of carts and balls, having an advisor that has that organizational experience would assist when putting on events that are associated with the PGA. Kids golf, my sister is very involved in kids golf. She plays constantly and plays in tournaments, not only domestically but internationally. She's one of the top golfers for her age group, and so I'm definitely very involved in that area. I've gone to a lot of kids golf events, different types of tournaments, and seen how they operate and seen the growth that has been over the past few years with the establishment of these organizations that promote kids golf. Also with high school women's golf, which is very popular, especially here in the Orlando area, seeing that competition and how it can be another sport that girls can get interested in compared to other sports. And so that's maybe an area where you can see a lot of transition into, and somewhere that I would potentially be able to assist in advising for. I also have a business management degree from Rollins College, which provides a lot of leadership and decision-making skills, which would help in advising the PGA, especially from a young perspective, on how you can get youth more involved, especially with using different styles of golf, like Topgolf or mini golf, and using technology to kind of make it more engaging, especially with content viewership online. So I think that is an important area to advise to the PGA, which would help provide a solid foundation to the future. I think that the PGA, still has the stigma of being an old man's organization that only the wealthy play, and I think that having a little bit more diversity and a little bit more outward perspective, that's a little bit outside of that culture, but yet is still part of the youth side of golf. And as someone that does go to Topgolf and play mini golf, maybe can provide people that are kind of more focused on the game itself with a little bit of a wider window to look out of. And so I think that's pretty important and is a reason why I would make as a good advisor for this organization.